Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of oil and natural gas, some of my favorite sectors. And we're going to jump in here. I'll give you my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. We've got light crude oil futures behind me. We've got some small up days here, basically tracking sideways. And we've got a lot of news out there with the Russia-Ukraine deal, which obviously will impact oil prices. We've got inventories that are non-existent. We're running large deficits. I know this thing's eventually going to go higher. Will it go higher in the very, very short term? This is a difficult read. I'm holding on to my shares. I would even be a buyer in some of these companies. I just think the upside potential here is quite dramatic still in oil. Natural gas, I feel the same way. We have an up day today. Almost a bullish engulfing. It's close, but I do think we're coming into a season where we might pull back, maybe into the $3 range or something like that in springtime, and then we'll go off to the races again in summer. So last springtime, coming from November, it was kind of coming down like this, and it came up for the summer months and into fall, and then we came up into the winter months. So we might have a little bit of a relaxation period before we move on up. Maybe not. I'm holding on to my shares. I'm not doing anything with it. I try not to play that short-term time frame. I like the 5 to 10 year time frame. So I'm an accumulator of all this stuff. XOP, we're right at the support level today. We'll see if that support line holds. But XOP, on a long-term perspective, we're right at this breakout, and we are probably resting for a next move that is far higher. SM Energy, another one that's coming into a little bit of resistance. We've got a pattern that's forming, and we're coming right to the tip of it. They released earnings, I think, Friday. 225 is what I last saw. And this is the coil up that we've got. We're right at support right here. We'll see where we go next. And I think it depends on earnings, and it depends on oil prices. Centennial Resource Development, this is my second largest holding. CDEV and Crew Energy and SM Energy, Athabasca Oil turned into a pretty large holding. I got in at, I think it was 16 cents or whatever. But, this is also exhibiting that coiling up where we could potentially break higher depending on what the price of oil does. You know what? Let's check CDEV, see what it's doing. I think they released earnings up 3.17% after hours. So they probably had some pretty good earnings release. I didn't look at them, but I know they were releasing them. Looking at Crew Energy, this guy's also right at the bottom of its support line. I would be a buyer here if you guys want natural gas and oil exposure. I think this is more natural gas up in Canada, but this would be one I like. CPE moving on higher. It's right at support as well. The support line is holding. This one also has that massive pattern that's squeezing up. Athabasca Oil's been on a tear. We're up to a $1.40-ish, and we're trying to strive to get to that $1.70 level. I think we'll get there pretty quick, and then we'll see where we go from there. Recaf, a little bit of a down day today. It's still holding on. This is kind of a bearish engulfing pattern. We could go lower here, guys. We could put a little tail on this guy of this big kind of like an A, B, C correction. Maybe we come down some, scare some people out. CPG, this one is also coiling up, and we're right at support. Yeah, right like in here. We're right at the support line. Northern Oil and Gas, small little up day. And again, we're at this point where we're right at a resistance line that we're trying to break through. We could come back a little bit, maybe not. Maybe we break through it. I know everybody wants me to say this will go higher. I would do this, but guys, on the short term, it's the least predictable, the least statistical probability of being right. This long-term, big picture view, where this is basically a downward slanting double booty bottom, is what I call it. Here's one booty, the second booty. It usually creates like a kind of consolidation pattern here. It'll go back and forth, and then you break to the upside. That's usually what happens. We've got our slingshot. That's what this slingshot is. It goes below this level here, slings back, and then we do a launch higher. I think this looks good to move on up on a long-term perspective. On the very short term, it gets really difficult to read. We've got a bearish engulfing pattern here. We are kind of coiling up. Does that mean we're going to break lower? Maybe. But with the fundamentals of oil, I mean, I would not rule out a move to the upside. And with war and all these other things going on, a lot of short-term noise is in all these, is happening. GTE moving on higher. Again, I would just be holding on to this. This is a massive pattern that's broken to the upside. If I were to do a trend-based fib extension from here to here, and then the retracement to about here, we are at about so to get to a 1.618, that's at $2.20 or so. I still think there's a big, a bigger move in this. And this could be the first leg, a consolidation, and then we have another big leg, which we're in the middle of. So I would not be selling. I'd be holding on and waiting for this thing to move on higher, which correlates with, a 214 call of the bottom of this. So that's where your next resistance line is. Just hold on to it. Tellurian's looking better. We've got a nice big bullish engulfing pattern breaking through this support resistance line right here. I redrew it differently. Let me go back to the 1 year here. It's a big bullish engulfing. This is probably going to head higher. I would be looking to purchase a little bit of Tellurian in here if you want to. Pedevco, PED, it's another exploration production company. This guy's still in its pattern. It's just been moving sideways, but this thing is coiling up for a potential break to the upside. It is coiling and coiling and coiling up. And hopefully we can get a big break out of it. OAS, Oasis, we've broken below this pattern. It could be a false breakout, and then we could rocket launch higher. So I'm not ruling that out. Comstock Resources, we've got this little support grid I put under here. Every time we hit it, we bounce off of it. I would be a buyer down here. I've already purchased some of Comstock somewhere in here. I can't remember if it was here or here in one of my accounts, and we could see a move higher. I like it down here. Sandridge Energy just bopping sideways. Not too much to really say here. I don't really see a clear pattern. Ring Energy is a nice, good spot. We're trying to break through this long-term resistance line that goes all the way back. We break through that, I think we could see a run. Trillion Energy, that's a small little guy there. Surge Energy just moving sideways, broken through that support. It's a cheetah resting, just resting before a big move. Tamarack Valley Energy. This is TNEYF. I think we could, sideways to maybe a little bit more of a pullback before we head higher in a very big move. This thing looks absolutely excellent. We consolidated. We were squeezing on up. We broke to the upside. And I think we could easily see another move. And we're probably just catching a little bit of resistance through here as we break through this guy here. Once we break through that, we're creating a higher high. Then we hit the turbo. We move on up and create this Supra pattern where it just kind of rolls on up with the price of oil. OIH, Energy Service Companies. This thing looks absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. We just broke out. Could we pull back? Yeah, we could pull back and do a return move. But you know what? That's a buying opportunity. If you bought into it, just hold on. If you come back, buy more. That's the way that I view it. I just hold on. Tetra Technologies, this guy's, I'm going to put it more like this. Kind of a pattern that's creating here. But big picture view, guys, I mean, these are massive patterns that we have. You buy them and then you just hold on. Rig is Transocean, and we're right at the neckline, putting in a big bullish piercing pattern. I would be a buyer here, and then I would just hold. I'd do nothing. Looks like Seadrill is going to have a new name, and I don't know what the name of their company is yet. I'll have to look. ProPetro Pump, this one is pulling back. We're going to get a return move, and then I would be a buyer again, and I would buy it and then hold on. We're probably going to a little return move, and then boom, we're gone again. EXTN, small little down day today. You know, we might get a little bit of a return move before heading higher. Valaris is getting in that return move. Don't be afraid. Be a hungry animal. When this thing comes down and if we consolidate at the support line, buy it and hold on. That's what I'm going to do. MMA offshore, it's a little bloody nose. It's got a big body, small down day. We call that a bloody nose. And then that's usually a continuation move to the upside on the daily candlesticks. This thing is breaking out of a big, massive pattern to the a big downtrend line. And I would be a buyer, and I'd be holding on up here. Everything looks good. Tidewater's been moving on up today. Again, this one's got a massive pattern break to the downside. We've got good value down here. I would be buying it and holding on. NEX, big old chart pattern break. Big, massive move. And we got a little bit, we could see a return move here, potentially coming on down for a return move a little bit. But we're gonna just create, more than likely, we're probably not going to see this again. So we're probably going to, if we're going to have a return move, it'll probably be somewhere, you know, in this block in here. It'll create a higher low, and then it'll bounce and create a higher high again. And we're going to do higher highs, higher lows in an uptrend fashion. CHX, we've pulled back to this support line almost. I would be a buyer. I mean, add a little in and let's see what happens. WHG, Cactus Energy. Load, Cactus, load. May the load be with you. Or maybe not. Yeah. It looks like WHD. Okay, there we go. WHD, 1 year. And we're coming right below this support line. I don't know why. Sometimes it's like almost these lines. But we're right there. We're right at the support line for WHD. OII, yeah, this could pull back because this is a rising wedge and they usually pull to the downside. Noble Energy, we're coming up at support, the resistance line too. Noble Energy, I still think will go higher. It looks like we've got, what I look for are these lows, guys. Low, low, low. It's just stepping on up. And then we'll probably see a break to the upside. Helix Energy Solutions, we're in this uptrend channel. It's looking okay. And CGGYY has broken this massive downtrend line. It's just starting to come up. This is going to require patience, but I think it's a good entry point for a good long-term hold. So that's what I've got for today. You know what, guys? It's difficult to read on the short term, oil. But I do think the potential in 2022 for oil is so big that I think we're going to go higher. Irrespective of what the short term does, I think by the end of 2022, we will be vastly higher than where we are today. The path it takes, that's usually the most difficult one to answer in the short term. Anything can move this. News, Russia, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We could have, people are saying the technicals, they should pull back. Then you got inventory levels, which are just massively low. We'll see. Fundamentally, we're going up with oil and natural gas. I think natural gas is covering all the mistakes of renewables. They're putting more of these things in. It's going to amplify the volatility of natural gas. We're going to become less robust in terms of energy delivery across the world. I think this is one good spot to be in. Whether it be energy services, exploration production companies, anything to do with energy, I think is going to do incredibly well over the next 5 to 10 years. So I'm not selling a single share. In fact, I would be buying more. That's where my head is. That's where my paradigm is. I'll be buying uranium in certain companies. I'll be buying some of these other ones, maybe like a Crew Energy. For some reason, I really like Crew Energy. The bounce in Crew Energy is very good. Athabasca Oil is another one, but it's already pulled up quite a bit. Crew Energy's kind of pulled back. That'd be the one I'd be looking at right now is Crew Energy, CWEGF. That would be one I would be looking at. And hopefully SM Energy and CDEV can break through their patterns based off of the earnings that they're releasing and whatever guidance they give. Hopefully they can break through and blow through this their patterns and have huge up legs right in front of us. If you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.